Shinbi might have received a mixed reception when it comes to her hero design, but take nothing away from her hero kit, which is really well done. I enjoyed playing Shinbi a lot more than any of the other recently released heroes, and while a lot of people want to take her in the jungle, I, being a mid lane man, wanted to take her mid, and that's exactly what we're going to look at in this build and guide. We start off with the Archmagus as your prime card, a cast token, health potion and mana potion. Now you can take double cast token, maybe a healer token with a cast token. The choice is up to you. I'm still experimenting with the start, but I think this is the one I like the most. Next are my 4 Adamant edges. The first 2 are our early game cards with 3 minor power cards, followed by our late game Adamant edges with 2 major power cards and a greater health each. We then have a Sage's Ward with 3 major power cards, a Snakevine Mesh with 3 minor barriers, followed by a Spiked Boneplate with 3 minor guards. So we invest points into being a bit more tanky towards the later stages so that we can actually get into people's faces to build those stacks from our E to charge our ultimate damage a bit faster. I then have Hunter's Guile, which I think is a must on Shinbi. If you're playing at a decent level, you're gonna come across a lot of CC with Aurora, Rampage and Deca, so this card is a must pick. I have 2 cast and a major caster's upgrades for it. The final card is Vineheart, as I really like the penetration just to get that extra damage, but the build is flexible in that it allows you to be a bit more tanky if you choose so. I've attached screenshots below for variations of the final build to help you out. So like I mentioned, you want to start off with your health potion, cast token and mana potion. On your first back you can sell your cast token and mana potion if you need the extra points to max out your first Adamant edge. Ideally you would pick up your Sage's Ward next and then your Adamant edge, but sometimes I do it in reverse so I can max out my Adamant edges faster. I don't really recommend this, but because Shinbi has that double dash, I feel pretty safe taking it later. Hunter's Guile is a card that you need to take depending on when team fights start to break out. Usually this is when the first offlane tower falls or when Deca and Aurora hit level 5. You don't have to upgrade it immediately because it offers no bonus, so picking it up and then continuing with your cheap Adamant edges is perfectly fine. The rest of the build is pretty straightforward, but I'll leave a link to agora.gg so you can follow it along at your own pace. So as a mid laner, I do like to poke quite a bit, but in this game the enemy Shinbi has a healer token, so I feel like in this situation poking is somewhat of a waste of mana. So instead I take my circle rhythm first, which is a great ability to help sustain a lane. Remember, you don't want to unlock any ability until you're ready to use it. I wanted to push the wave, so I used it and I was almost level 2, but imagine I had taken it right at the start and Rampage had thrown a rock at me. I'd be dead when I could have taken my dash to save me. Shinbi has a great mana pool, that's why we don't include any mana upgrades in the build, but you still want to be going for those river buffs. They open up so many opportunities, and even if you are unable to capitalize on them, at least you're shutting down the enemy from making their own play. As my jungler goes for the river buff, he gets contested by the enemy Rampage who has low mana, so we definitely want to fight this. I rotate over, as does the enemy Shinbi. We're already at a huge advantage just because of our mana pools. The first ability I pop is my E to help build a large amount of stacks. I believe Circle Rhythm can build a max of 4 stacks in one go. It turns out I could just auto attack him to death. I then land a Q on the enemy Shinbi, and as she retreats I pop my ultimate to secure the kill. The feeling of securing a kill while the enemy is out of reach is so satisfying. I then get incredibly greedy here, but I wanted to see how far Shinbi could go as I chased Twin Blast, who I'm pretty sure I would have killed if he didn't have a tower or Serath to back him up. It cost me a death, but I'm pretty sure you won't be as greedy as me. I personally think Shinbi is great at playing somewhat of an assassin. I mean, she can't instantly 0 to 100 people, but she has a great amount of damage that allows her to come in behind people and finish them off, as I do to the enemy Shinbi here. At the higher levels of play, a lot of enemies will position themselves behind your tower while their allies push from the front so they can sandwich you in, so keeping an eye out for that will allow you to counter it like I did here. You can see in this teamfight just how quickly Shinbi is able to turn it around. My allies are pretty hurt by the time I get there. I dive straight for the Twin Blast, again using my E to deal damage and sustain, allowing Grux to pick him off. I then go straight for Serath to finish her off. Unfortunately Murdoch dies, but we secure the kill, so you can see that getting straight into the thick of the fight as Shinbi is actually going to make a huge difference for your team, and that's why we have some health and defense items towards the later stages of the game. Now as Shinbi, when it comes to small fights, I'll come in, help secure the kill and then get out, whereas a lot of other heroes might come in to secure the kill and then continue to initiate as your allies rotate. However, Shinbi is quite susceptible to CC, so getting in and out is a bit of an issue, hence why we take Hunter's Guile. As I rotate to help my Grok secure the kill on Serath, 3 enemies have rotated onto us. I'm in a bit of trouble, but as Aurora ults me and uses Hoarfrost, I pop my Hunter's Guile, which negates the ultimate and allows me to pass through her Hoarfrost and double dash away. So what would be a certain death is avoided by a 4-cost card. And personally, I think this card is a great pickup on a lot of other growth heroes like Sparrow, Sevarog and Chimera, not just Shinbi. Also, some people weren't too sure, but you can also use Hunter's Guile to pass through a Deca Cage if you time it correctly. I really like the mobility of Shinbi. Her kit allows you to hit enemies at range with line tempo and her ultimate all kill, while also allowing you to close gaps with her rushing beat. Aurora uses her glacial charge, but that's no problem for Shinbi because she has that rushing beat which she can use twice instantly. Something I found on Monolith is that a lot of heroes will get away when they shouldn't, or just get away with really low health, and regardless of how good you were as a player, it seemed to always happen, but I feel like with Shinbi this is less of a problem. With regards to Shinbi's abilities, I really like maxing out her line tempo and circle rhythm. The cooldown on her Q is 2 seconds, and being able to poke that often is insane, especially once you get it to max level. It outputs a lot of damage with this build. Her circle rhythm is great for sustain, so I'll max one of these 2 out first. If you find yourself split pushing a lot, then circle rhythm is the better choice, but if you find yourself poking your enemy lane partner a lot, then line tempo is what you want. You obviously want to max out her ultimate whenever you get the chance. I hope you enjoyed this building guide for Shinbi. Let me know your thoughts on her and how you're finding her. Smash that thumbs up button if you enjoyed, and until next time guys, peace.